What the ancients feared about the stars. Long before cities lit up the night with electric lights, people looked up at the sky and saw only darkness, except for the stars. The stars were tiny points of light, scattered across the blackness like grains of sand. To us today, they might seem beautiful, peaceful, even comforting. But to the ancients, the stars were mysterious and sometimes terrifying. In those days, people did not understand what stars really were. They did not know that the stars were suns far away in space. Instead, they believed the stars were gods, spirits, or omens. Some thought the stars were the eyes of dead ancestors watching them. Others believed the stars were holes in the sky, letting the light of heaven shine through. But not all stories about the stars were happy. Many ancient cultures feared the stars because they did strange, unpredictable things. Sometimes a new star would appear where none had been before. Sometimes a star would move across the sky in ways others did not. And sometimes the stars seemed to fall from the heavens. One of the most feared events was when the stars moved wrong. Today, we know these as comets, meteors, and eclipses. But in ancient times, people saw them as signs of disaster. A comet with its long, fiery tail was seen as a message from angry gods. The Chinese called comets broom stars, believing they swept away bad luck, but only after bringing war, famine, or the death of a ruler. The Romans thought comets were the souls of great leaders rising to the heavens, but only after those leaders had died. Meteors, or shooting stars, were even more frightening. They burned bright and fast, vanishing in seconds. Some cultures thought they were dragons or serpents flying across the sky. Others believed they were pieces of the sky itself, falling to earth. The ancient Greeks feared that a shooting star meant the gods were unhappy, and punishment would follow. Eclipses were perhaps the most terrifying of all. When the moon passed in front of the sun, turning day into night, people believed the world was ending. The ancient Chinese banged drums and shouted to scare away the dragon they thought was eating the sun. The Vikings believed eclipses happened when two wolves chased the sun and moon across the sky, finally catching and swallowing them. But it was not just strange events that frightened the ancients. Even the normal movement of the stars could be unsettling. The stars did not stay in the same place all year. They shifted with the seasons. Some disappeared for months, only to return later. The ancient Egyptians watched the star Sirius vanish for 70 days, every year. They believed this was the time when the goddess Isis mourned for her dead husband, Osiris. When Sirius returned, it meant the Nile River would flood, bringing life to their crops. But until then, the people waited in fear, wondering if the star and the flood would come back. The stars were also tied to fate. Many cultures believed that the position of the stars at a person's birth decided their future. The Babylonians and Greeks studied the stars to predict wars, harvests, and the fate of kings. This practice, called astrology, was both respected and feared. A bad horoscope could mean disaster. A king might delay a battle if the stars were not right. A farmer might refuse to plant seeds if the stars warned of drought. Some of the oldest stories in the world are about the stars. The ancient Sumerians, who lived over 5,000 years ago, wrote about gods who placed the stars in the sky to guide humans, but also to test them. The Maya of Central America believed the stars were the souls of warriors who had died in battle, watching over the living. The Norse people thought the stars were sparks from the great world tree Yggdrasil, and that one day when the world ended, the stars would fall from the sky like fire. Perhaps the greatest fear was that the stars would one day disappear. The sky was eternal, or so people thought. If the stars could change, if they could fall or vanish, what else might happen? Could the sun itself one day go dark? Could the sky crack open? Today, we know much more about the stars. We know they are not gods, not omens, not pieces of heaven. They are suns, so far away that their light takes years, sometimes thousands of years, to reach us. But even now, when we look up at the night sky, we sometimes feel the same awe and wonder, and maybe even a little fear. that the ancients felt. The stars are still mysterious. They still hide secrets. And though we no longer believe they control our fate, we cannot help but look up and wonder, what else is out there? What do the stars know that we do not? The night sky is a storybook written in light. And the oldest stories, the ones told by the ancients, remind us that the stars were not always our friends. Sometimes they were our greatest fear. So tonight, when you look up at the stars, remember, every flicker of light was once a mystery. Every constellation was once a god, a monster, or a warning. And though we have learned so much since then, the stars still hold their ancient power, the power to make us stop, look up, and wonder what lies beyond the dark.